Hello everyone, welcome to the SI2 Video 5 for the School Improvement Steering Team. The focus of this video is to prepare for Council Discussion 2 on Visioning. My name is Sue Reynolds and I'm the President of the American Student Achievement Institute. In terms of the video content, we'll be doing two things during this video. One is to review the steering team task delegation. We want to make sure that each steering team member understands their responsibilities, and then we will overview and provide tips for this month's activities. And this month, those tips will be related to visioning. So in terms of your steering team task delegation, it's very important each month that each member of your steering team understands what their role is and what their tasks are for that month. So we'd like to give you a moment to pause this video and just make sure that each member of your steering team understands which set of responsibilities has been assigned to him or her. Let's pause the video now. Okay, a couple things we'd like to make sure that each of your steering team members have done. The first one is to read Elements of High Achieving Schools. That is a document that your council members will be asked to read this month, and so we want to make sure that your steering team members are familiar with that document. To find that document, go to the manual page in the online system and then scroll down to Council Discussion 2, and you're looking for document 5.4, ASA Elements of High Achieving Schools. Just click on that, that'll open, and then you can look at it. It's a pretty quick read. Most of the document is in bullets. The second thing we want to make sure that each of your steering team members has done is to watch the discussion prompt for Council Discussion 2. This is important for all of your steering team members, but especially important for the person who is the Council Discussion point person. So to watch that video, the same video that your council members are going to be watching, you'd want to go to the Process page and then scroll down to Conduct Council Discussion 2 Vision, and then the very first step is to watch the council video, which is the discussion prompt for Discussion 2. So we'll go ahead and pause the video now, and if you have not read the Elements of High Achieving Schools or watch this council discussion, please do that now, and we'll give you a chance to pause the video. Okay, now let's look at Council Discussion 2. You've already watched the Council Discussion Prompt video, so you know what they are seeing and what we're asking them to do. So, looking at an overview, the objectives for this meeting, what you want to happen as a result of this online discussion, is you want each of your council members to understand that educators and community members really have a common vision for student success. And I think that as the educators start to read what parents and community members say, and they start to read what educators are saying, everyone will discover that you're on the same page, that everybody's got the same dream for kids, and everybody's headed in the same direction. We also want each of your council members to begin thinking about a couple of things. One is the community's core convictions, what in your community you believe that all kids deserve, and then adult behaviors in your school and your community that either reflect those convictions or do not reflect those convictions. We also want your council to begin thinking about student behaviors that reflect those convictions or student behaviors that might be working against those convictions. And finally, in this top section, we'd like your council to think about student data that reflect your convictions. For example, if one of your convictions is that all students learn at a high level, then we would expect the data to be that 100% of your students are passing the state math and English language arts tests. The other thing is that those 4 steps will become the parts of your vision statement. The other thing that we want your council to begin thinking about are the questions for which students does the community have dreams. If it's not 100% of the kids that the community dreams are successful, then which students do they feel are not likely to become successful? Is it low-income kids? Is it mobile kids? Is it a certain ethnic or racial group? Which kids do they not have dreams for? So, in other words, we're really hoping that the community will see that they have dreams for all kids, and that if they have dreams for all kids, then it's their responsibility to do what it takes to help kids reach those dreams. So, the last focus point, last objective, is we would like the community members to begin thinking about what they can do to help raise student achievement. We believe that raising student achievement is a community responsibility, not just a school responsibility. And so we're hoping that the light bulbs will start going off in your community foundation or your economic development council or businesses in your community will start to think about what can we do to help raise student achievement. What can we do to work in partnership with the school or to complement what the school is doing to raise student achievement. So that may not happen right now as you're talking about visioning, but down the road we're hoping that happens more and more. So in the discussion steps are these. The first thing the council members are going to do is that they are going to read ACE's Elements of High Achieving Schools. We hope that helps them to think out of the box a little bit, so that they're not just looking at status quo, but they're starting to look at, what do high achieving schools do? And then they'll start thinking, does our school do that? We're also inviting in this section your educators to look at their professional associations, to start looking at what professional associations, like the Teachers Association, are saying are elements of high achieving schools, of ideal schools. So that's first step. Second step is to watch a vision discussion prompt, and in that prompt, which you have already seen now, you noted that that's going to also direct them to the Lorraine Monroe Doctrine 60-minute segment. So they'll watch the discussion prompt, but then in the middle of the discussion prompt, they'll be asked to look at the Lorraine Monroe Doctrine, which is on another organization's Facebook page, and then they'll come back and finish up the video, the SI2 video. And then finally, they will discuss 5 questions online. So the first question is really a practice to help them just get used to looking for core convictions. We're going to help them look for core convictions outside of themselves and other people, and then that will help them look for the core convictions within themselves. So the first question, after they've watched the Frederick Douglass, Lorraine Monroe 60 Minutes video, then we'll ask them, what do educators at Frederick Douglass Academy in Harlem believe in their heart of hearts about kids learning and education? And they'll have a discussion around that. Then we'll come back and say, okay, let's now talk about what your convictions are and your dream, your ideals. So the main 4 discussion questions are these. In your heart, what do you believe all students in your school deserve? In your vision of an ideal school, what are the adults doing? In your vision of an ideal school, what are the students doing? And in your vision of an ideal school, what percentage of students are passing both the state math and English language arts tests? So we're asking them not to express what the community is thinking on these things, but for them personally, what are their beliefs and what are their ideals? So all of your teachers and your community members, your parents on the council are talking about what's inside of them, what they believe in terms of the ideal school. Okay, here's some tips as you go into this discussion. First of all, it's really important that you have your student body discussions prior to the council discussions. That is because the council members, right before they put their comments online, they're going to click a link and it's going to open up the summary to the two student body discussions. So it's really important that those summaries are in there prior to opening up the council discussions. So student body discussion first, then the council discussion opens up after the summaries from the students are online. So the November question for the kids was to describe the ideal teacher. The December question for the kids was to describe the ideal adult. The student body point person is going to summarize those two discussions, and that has to happen prior to the December council discussion opens. So, okay, so the timing of that is really important. Okay. Then there's a couple of things that might come up during your revisioning. One is some resistance that might come forward in the discussion, online discussion, during the Lorraine Monroe video. Sometimes when folks are watching the video about Frederick Douglass Academy, they're feeling like we're putting pressure on your school to be like Frederick Douglass. So we put a caution in the video that your counselor is going to watch that says this, basically that we're just showing Frederick Douglass as a sample school to see if they can determine what's in people's hearts by watching their actions. Paragraph 2, we're not trying to compare your school to Frederick Douglass. Your school certainly has a lot of reasons why it may be easier for you to have high achievement than a school in Harlem. But on the other hand, at this school in Harlem, children had to apply for admissions, which means that they have parents that value education and are engaged enough to fill out an application, which may not be the case in your school. You may not have engaged parents for all of your kids. So we're really wanting to help folks, we're wanting to head off the resistance before it happens by helping folks really think about we're not trying to compare your school with Frederick Douglass. Okay, the other thing we'd like you to be paying attention to is in the discussion about the vision data. In some schools, that vision will go to 100%. Because people will say, this is vision data, so why wouldn't we have dreams for every kid? Everything should be 100%. But in some schools, that's a very difficult discussion. Some people might say 80% or 85% of the kids they have dreams for. So somebody needs to be monitoring this discussion. By design, that somebody would be the council discussion point person. And you're watching to see what's happening with that discussion. And if it starts to be that people's percentages are really low, you might just enter that first comment. Remember, this is a vision, not a goal. In our dream, do we not want all students to pass the state tests? And just kind of put this out there and suggest maybe it should be 100%. And then you see what people have to say. People might push back and not get it to 100%. And remember, we're wanting your vision statement to be by consensus. So, you kind of have to look at where's the point where we can get all people to agree. If our vision is not 100%, for which students do we not have dreams? So that's another kind of question you can put into the online discussion to get the discussion going towards, thinking about who do we have dreams for? Is it not all kids? And then finally, the other thing that we think maybe might come up in this discussion is, unlike previous years, we made this discussion very simple by asking your council what percentage of the students in your building, in your dream, in your vision, have passed both the state's math and English language arts tests. And we just used that one data point. In past years, we've used a bunch of data points, but we thought because this is online, it would just simplify it to just use one data point. So if that comes up, if people are saying, you know, well, this is just a state test, and you know, we should be looking at lots of different indicators for student achievement and not just the state test, then we have too much emphasis on the state test. You know, if that kind of discussion starts, you can just explain to people that the ASA asked us to provide a success rate for the state test because that is the only achievement data that all SI2 schools have in common, and also we were trying to simplify the process. And just suggest to people the same percentage and whatever they're entering could also apply to all other measures of achievement in our school, such as the percentage of kids who earn a 3.2 GPA or whatever you decide the mastery level is. Students who are at or above national average on SAT, a certain cutoff point on NAEP or Terra tests. So we just use one data point, but that percentage would apply to all of your achievement indicators. So I don't know if that will come up, but we just want you to watch for that. We don't want this to be a discussion about whether or not we should have one state test. So, okay. So there's some tips on the vision data. And then after the discussion, here's what will happen. So there's two people that will be involved post-discussion. One is the council discussion point person. So what we'd like that point person to do is to enter a discussion summary online and then send the summary to council members and ask them for any corrections or additions. Last month we had the council consensus point person do that, but we're going to switch that to the council discussion point person because the consensus point person has a lot of other things to do. And this month, the council consensus point person will be doing this. First of all, you'll write a vision statement draft and enter it into the online system, and we have samples in the manual so you can kind of see what that looks like. And then we'd like you to download a copy of the draft vision statement and save it, and then send a copy of the draft vision statement to the council members for consensus. And there's an online email tool that will list all the email addresses for all the council members, and I'll show you that in a minute when we get online. And then finally, we want to make edits to the draft as needed for consensus, and then just keep resending the draft to council members until you have a consensus. We also have online a sample of a draft email. We have a sample of an email that you might send to the council members. We thought that might just save you some time so that you wouldn't have to start from scratch on an email. Okay. Then, what we'd like to do now is to give your steering team a chance to discuss the different tasks that you're going to be doing. So mainly what we're looking at there is a timeline. So when is the student body going to have this discussion? When is the discussion going to be entered online? Then when is the council discussion window going to open, which has to be after the student body discussion. When is the council window going to open? When is the council window going to close? When will you send the discussion reminder to the council? And then when is the council's discussion summary going to be entered online? Next section then is for the the creation of your vision statement. So when is the vision statement draft going to be emailed to the council? And then when are the council's responses due back to the council consensus point person? So just a reminder down at the bottom, you have to have the student body discussion summary entered before the council discussion opens. And then a couple of other questions. What are you going to do to encourage council members to participate in the online discussion? And how often will the discussion point person monitor the discussion? And I would recommend this month that that gets monitored fairly frequently, because there are some points in the Lorraine Monroe video and on the vision data where you might start getting some resistance. So just want to make sure that you're watching and you can head that off if it starts to happen. Okay, then let's get online. Let's pause first and give you a chance to look at that, and I'll come back in just a second. Okay, now let's look online at the online system that complements this part. So I'm going to the online system. When you log in, you're going to come to the home page for your steering team, which looks like this. And I'm logged in as the SI2 demo school. So to begin your work, you'll go to the Process tab, and I'm going to scroll down to this month's activities, which are to Council Discussion 2 on Vision. And here's the steps. You're watching the Council video. You've already done that. You're watching this video, which you're doing right now. You're going to participate in the learning community. This month's learning community will happen on December 4th. So make sure that you've registered for that, and then here's the link where you would go to register. Then after the student body discussion, here's where to put in the summary. Just click the enter button, and same as last month, you're going to answer the summary questions. Update any council members. We're going to have you do that every month so that when you open the council discussion, the right people are getting the emails. Then you're going to conduct the discussion, and this will work the same as last time. You're going to click that link, and then you're going to set up the discussion window, and then send the invitation. So same as it worked last time. Then we've given you a tool where you can monitor the council discussion again, and then you'll enter the council discussion summary, and then also enter the vision statement. And I wanted to just pause on that and look at that more in depth. When I enter the vision statement, I'm going to click on the Enter Edit icon, and if you're not new to SI2, your previous vision statement will appear here. So it may be that once you get all the input, you look at your current vision statement and it looks fine. You don't need to make any edits whatsoever. And if that's the case, you're finished. Just use what you have already developed. But most schools find, especially if they haven't really worked on vision statement for 2 or 3 years, that their vision statement needs to be a lot loftier than it was 2 or 3 years ago. So as you're looking at this, if there's things you need to edit based on the input that you got from the council, you would just edit, just either take this out and start over, or just edit what is already in there. So we believe all students deserve. Then you've got a paragraph describing the ideal adult behaviors, and then what ideal students are doing, and then your data. Now, this is the section where we in the discussion prompt, just asked about state tests. But if there are other things like graduates who earn a certain score in an AP test, or who are in the Core 40 diploma, there's other measures of achievement that are important to your school. We want to enter those in here too. And then whatever the percentage is, put that percentage in. And one other thing on that 100%, remember if your council doesn't get to 100%, you need to honor whatever they come up with. So even though you personally may feel that it's 100%, if the council has said 97% and you can live with that as a council member, then 97% is what should go in there. It doesn't have to stay there. Next year when you review and revise your vision again, you can change it if the view of the council has changed. Okay, so that's how to enter the vision statement in. And then here's the report that comes out. And don't forget too that you've got a rubric for what we're looking for on the vision. And on the vision statement, we're looking for these things, that the first paragraph contains the core convictions, and then each paragraph contains kind of what we're looking for. Okay. And then don't forget also, when you're finished with the section, to submit it, and then Mary Beth will take a look at your work. Again, start the rubric items, and we'll assign status to that submission, which will appear over here in the right-hand column. Okay, a couple of other things we want to look at is just in the manual tab. In that tab, if you scroll down, here's the tools that we're starting to put up to help you do this work. So the video slides that you'll need if you're going to do this as a face-to-face meeting where somebody else is presenting the prompt. Here's elements of high achieving schools. The other things that will appear here are sample vision statements that will go up probably before you are watching this. And then also the sample email to send to your council members asking for their consensus. Remember, our 2 consensus questions are, they don't have to love it, we're just looking for, can they live with it and can they support it publicly. And then finally, the last thing we want to look at is how to send an email, how to get all of your council members' email addresses. So if you click on council, and then what you're looking for here is the little mail icon, and that, if you click on email, that will give you a list of all of your council members' email addresses with either commas or semicolons between them, so you can paste them into a toolbox, and you'll choose whether or not you want commas or semicolons. And then also, if you're going to send a letter to your council for some reason, you can also go to the database and print name labels. Okay, so I think that's it in the online system. And finally, a little bit of a wrap-up. Wanted to remind you that our conference is coming up February 26th. Please make sure you register online. We have a new feature this year where you can pay by credit card, so we're kind of excited about that. We are getting ready to announce the keynotes in the next week or so, and I think you'll be very, very pleased. I'm really excited about the folks that we are considering. So we've got it narrowed down, and we're in the part where we work on contracts. So we'll be able to announce this very soon. I think you'll be incredibly excited about these folks. I know I am. And then also remember that there are some complimentary registrations available. There's 4 free complimentary registrations in each county. So if you are in the counties that are pink or orange on the screen, we have active steering team members that have started a college success coalition, and you can contact them about receiving one of those free applications, or I'm sorry, free registrations. And again, there's the website that you would go to find out who to contact in your county, and here's all the counties on the website. So just learnmoreindiana.org/CSC, and then send that county an email. There's an email feature on the county's website where you can send them an email and let them know that you'd be interested in one of the free registrations. You do have to be a member of the College Success Coalition. Your only obligation, if your school joins the College Success Coalition, the only obligation is to implement at least one college access activity. And my guess is your school counselor is implementing 70 or 80 different activities, so that's not a big deal for your school. Okay, then if you are one of those